Yeah, I think so, Steve. I'm sure our supporters would recognise that as well. That's what they've been yearning for a long time. We've had, as we've spoken about, we've had bits and pieces of that in games. Last week was really poor, but I mean that's the standard they would expect, and that's the standard that the playing group need to understand that they should expect of themselves as well. So to do that was the most pleasing thing. The scoreboard end result is a bonus in reality for us against a very hardened and I think well-equipped Sydney side. I mean, those conditions suit Sydney to a T. So I thought our capacity to compete with them all night, particularly when we were headed, and to fight back was the most pleasing thing.
Neil, did it suit your boys even more because it just became a simplistic game? And maybe that's what they needed, just something simple instead of all the pressure they'd had before?
No, I don't think so, Michelangelo. I think it's more about the effort. We've seen some really outstanding quarters of football when we've had that sort of effort with the way we would normally play. When wet conditions dictate that tonight, pretty much even numbers all over the ground around stoppages. But if we continue to find that effort and put that in place, we'll be able to assess game plan structures a whole lot better. Because if you haven't got it, you can read a lot of things into a range of areas. So, yeah.
Have they just had a gutful? Is that what sparked it? That they just maybe had enough of everything that was being put on?
Well, you get to that stage, but you'd like to think that we're better than that. We don't want to be a football club that has to sit here for 5-6 weeks, and have criticism motivate us. So. The group have done a lot of work with themselves. The senior leadership group have been fantastic. They've kept buoyant as a group. So hopefully this is just a start for them for the rest of the year. And it's important that we continue to play with that sort of energy and that sort of intensity, because that's what they expect of themselves as well. So.
Can you describe, Neil, how you're feeling? Is it more relief or is it just pride? I mean, what's going through your mind at the moment?
I'm really pleased for the playing group, Ian. Really pleased for the playing group, and I'm really pleased for the 23,000 people that showed up tonight, under really tough conditions. And we haven't been playing the sort of football that they would want. They were really loud, and there could be some criticism of the crowd, but for an AFL crowd, it's pretty good. I mean, in comparison to what we normally get. So I'd thank all the supporters that came tonight. I'm really pleased for them to get some joy from a performance that the guys put on, and I'm really pleased for the playing group of the way they went about it and how they've stuck to their task. But we've still got quite a few games to go to demonstrate that even more.
Neil, in terms of motivation, you said you don't want criticism to drive it. What do you think really did get the G up for the guys this week as opposed to recent weeks?
Well, it's like, you could never put your finger on one thing. And we've made some significant changes to personnel. We had a weight of numbers tonight, in terms of the even contribution, rather than sitting here talking about 3 or 4 individuals or that sort of thing. So it's been there, but we need to keep pushing on it. That's all. We need consistency now with that sort of effort for our group to grow.
What are your thoughts on Cullen? I mean, he's looked to have made an impact straight away in the last 2 games. Does that make you think a bit differently about mature age players now when you go to recruit?
Well, I've never thought any differently. I've always had an open mind about mature age players. So, it looks like he's got a slight hamstring out of the game, so that'll put him back for probably maybe 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So that's disappointing for Ian, but he's done enough in his training. He's done enough in NAB Cup, and he's done enough in the 2 games that he's played. Now he'll want to get back, and I'm sure he will before the end of the season. But clearly, he's demonstrated that he can play at the level.
Who drove the change of attitude this week?
Well, our senior leadership group have been fantastic, Michelangelo, with the way they've just. It's been tough for them, but they've been really strong with the group. There's been there's been a lot of dialogue for a long time, but they've just kept their nose to the grindstone and kept pushing the group and been very demanding on themselves and the rest of the playing group. You know, what we call our backbone group have been, I think, this week in particular, and that's, you know, they've taken I thought those guys took a step forward this morning, tonight. So, yeah, I'd have to say that the senior leadership group have driven the group really hard.
Neil, given the pressure the side's been under and the circumstances, just your thoughts on the performance of Daniel Talia?
I thought he was good, actually. Yeah, I mean, he's not once tonight did I feel from a coaching perspective that, did I get jittery? He always looked calm, and he always looked like he had his opponent under control. So, I mean, he'll remember his first game. He's got the whole family over from Melbourne, grandparents, the whole box and dice have come over. So, and they're pretty happy about it. But I thought for a first half effort against a really good side, I think he did really well. Yeah, and I thought Jared Petrenko in particular was maybe hopefully took a step forward tonight as well in terms of his career.
How do you see Talia's role over the rest of the season developing?
Well, he replaced Luke Thompson in terms of the role, and so at the moment he's one of our bigger defenders. So we've got Rutten, Daniel Talia and Andy Otten. So hopefully Daniel will progress where he can, well, he's going to have to. If he continues to stay in the side, he'll probably have to take some of the bigger forwards that we play against. So that'll be his role.
Yeah, what are the pluses and minuses in the bye just now? Is there more to gain from it, or is it more to lose?
Yeah. If I had my choice, Michael Angelo, I wouldn't have the bye. I think, you know. But anyway, that'll be a challenge for us, won't it? To make sure that we don't get seduced by one effort as a playing group, and I'm sure they won't. But they need to enjoy it, you know, and savour it. But it'd be nice to be able to go again next week and butter up. But we haven't. But that's okay. So we need to use it as a bit of a break as well, and we will. You know, in the middle of next week, and then it's I think it's Essendon out here on a Friday night.
Is there anything you learned about the way to go about the game now from this sort of result?
In what area? What do you?
About that work ethic.
Oh, the work ethic, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's not something that this group or our club hasn't known about. I mean,
But they let it slip away.
Yeah, we have, no doubt. I mean, we've spoken about being an underperforming team, and irrespective of the profile of our team, and clearly, we're not out of that. We're not out of the woods on that area. One game like that doesn't mean that everything's turned around. But what it should do is give the players some added belief, because belief comes from doing, not by talking. And so when you play like that against Sydney, who I've got a huge amount of respect for. I mean, that's a tough game of footy against a highly credentialed side. That should give the group additional belief to what they already have. So they just need to push on with it.
It won't only give the players additional confidence, but it's probably going to give the supporters a bit of confidence in the side as well. So how do you reset their expectations in terms of the number of games you want to try and strive for to win for the remainder of this season?
Our supporters, well, they'll be more interested in, I would think they'll be more interested in reproducing that effort. Right, that's what they've been starved of for a fair part of the season. They've seen bits and pieces of it, but they'd be, hopefully they're driving home at the moment or in the buses going back to the country saying that's the picture they have in their head of how they want our team to play on a consistent basis. And I think that's a very fair expectation from them. And I don't think it's a huge demand to have. And so we need to live up to it as well.
So is there a reluctance to put a figure on a striving for a goal in terms of winning games? Because supporters want to see games won.
Well, so I can't guarantee games won. What I will say, though, if we play with that sort of effort and energy, is that we'll be around about the mark in a lot of games that we play. So that's the most important thing. You're never going to win a game like we played against Geelong in the first quarter. Never going to win a game. But we'll be competitive in a lot of games if we continue to do that.